Alright, so we're down here and we're getting the underlayment on. So we decided to go with a Pergo Timbercraft floor. It's a laminate. I think real wood, well, I don't know how it would have held up or how pricey it would have been. And then I looked at like a vinyl plank I thought about going with, but I get different conflicting reports about if it gets really cold, then it could be a problem. And again, I see the bus, there's probably a possibility it's going to sit in some winter months when we're not using it, and it's going to get, below zero. So I thought, well, maybe that's not the best idea either. So I went with this laminate, and so we're going to put it all together. I did kind of splurge and go with the waterproof stuff as a boater and a kayaker, and with the dogs, it's just going to be, well, it's going to be water and margaritas flung all over the place and stuff like that. So decided to go with the extra stuff. It's only 80 square feet, I think. Well, maybe 100, I don't know, between that. We'll find out when it's all said and done. But so we're putting this underlayment on. It's actually, I don't know, it's actually, I can already tell it's a little bit warmer on the floor. It's 19 degrees out this morning and below zero with the wind chill. At least it's sunny, so that's kind of keeping things. But the diesel heater's cranking right up. Super warm in here. I might actually have to strip down a little bit. So we'll lay out this underlayment and then we'll start putting the floor in. Alright, I never worked with that stuff before, but it actually went pretty well. I found that laying it on the floor and cutting it worked a whole lot better. If you stood it up on edge, because of the space, and tried to cut it in air, it just sort of ripped the foil out of it. Setting it on the floor worked really well, and then you can push it right up against the edge, and then just you kind of use the edge as a guide and slice it right along the floor. That seemed to work pretty well. Also said to run the underlayment perpendicular to where the flooring is going to go. So since the flooring is going to go the long way, that's why I went crossways. And now we're going to tape it with this mesh tape, and then we'll be ready to start going like hell, as Tim said. We'll go like hell. I can't find the edge of this tape though. I can do that for where it's green right there. It should. There it is. All right. Perfect. So I'm running my first course down here by the kitchen cabinets, and then if I ran a full length, I'd have just this tiny sliver that would go along by the couch. And I don't want that tiny sliver, so I ripped this first course at like 3 inches, so I can put it in there, and then I can, this next course will have like a little bit more meat to run that stretch down. So we'll just start put this together. I think it just slips in there like that. Bends down, and then you can buy a kit of 3/8 spacers for $10, or you can make them for free. So I just put a little jig on the sled for my table saw and snapped out a bunch of them out of a bunch of scraps. So that'll give me the space that I need all the way around. And then I can start the next course. Alright, so now if I've done this right, I can put these together. Like that. And then that'll together there. Check my spacer. Now we'll cut this end off and we'll use it to start the next course. I'll use this piece I cut off to go start the next course, and then we'll cut this piece to go in here. So using random lengths that you cut off at the end to start your next course keeps you from having all the joints in the same spot. So it looks a little bit more natural. Alright, so I need 23 inches to the short point. So where's my little angle tool here? I'll figure out what that angle is. I said 23 to the short, 23 to the long point. Make a mark at 23. I should do it at this end. That way, make my mark, angle there, and go down 23. Go cut that. So now that we're working back on this side, well, maybe that'll pop in. Alright, so with this one, since I have to go around this partition, around this wall, put my space there. I'm going to make a mark on each side where I'm going to cut the notch out. And I'm going to bring it out. 3/8 in there too. That's about right. Four and 3/4. We'll go cut that one out. This one is 31 1/8 to the long point, so I made a mark at 31 1/8. My long point. Got my angle. Of course, that doesn't reach on this side, so I'm gonna have to. My angle extender. There we go. So I don't need that all the way across my miter-saw. We'll figure that out. So this is annoying. I got this little alcove here, and it's 7/8 inch too long of what an uncut board will be. So I could use a bunch of scraps and take an extra hour filling this all in, or maybe what I'll do is I'll just cut a piece of 7/8 molding and just make that wall over there 7/8 longer. And that'll be a whole lot faster and a whole lot easier. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. Make some molding to seal the edges of the floor, and so I just got a bunch of scrap pieces of wood, and so I'm going to make some quarter round. I've got a 1/2 inch round over bit in the router table. I played around a little with the 3/8, I guess, but and these are a little bit slightly different thicknesses. So it's a little bit more than 3/4 a lot of it. So, and again, such small pieces, and they're going to be hidden for the most part. So I'm not going to worry about them all being exactly the right thickness. But the 1/2 inch bit seemed to work the best. So let's make some quarter round. I set my table saw to the fence to the same width as the thickness of the stock. So we'll run it through the router table, get the edge on it, then cut it off, and then run back to the router table and keep going until I run out of space. Okay, now we take this backer rod and we stuff it down into the gap. Take out our 3-inch spacers and substitute this stuff. Comes conveniently pre-tangled. Alright, to seal up the floor, we're going to put a little bead of silicone caulking on the edge of the molding. The edge is going to touch the floor. Like that. And we set the molding down and nail it in place. Alright, so we're continuing to put our molding down here, and now we're going to miter all these corners. So this is a trick that I use, and again, like I said with everything, it's not the only way to do it. I'm not even sure if it's the right way to do it, but it's the way that works for me, the way I've done it. So I got a piece of scrap here with my 45-degree angle cutting on one side. I'm going to put that on that side. So then I push this trim tight up against that one. So now I know that's kind of where I need to be. And I need another miter at this end. And sometimes it's just hard to measure, especially when you're trying to get the short point, because there's nothing to hook or push to. So once I get that in place, I just take a mark and scribe that. And now I'm going to cut that line. And actually, since the wood is hiding or preventing the pencil from cutting all the way to the edge, I'm actually going to cut the line. If that makes any sense. So that way I'm going to know pretty close. So, and again, I cut this piece a little bit, longer than it needed to be. I cut it probably, because a whole 8-foot piece wouldn't probably fit there. So now let's go cut that line. So I've got my line here, and then the other trick I like to do is I sneak up on it. I cut it deliberately long, and then gradually shave off more and more until I get the line cut. And that I find that makes it a little bit more precise. Then when you get super close, rather than slide over this way, just push, just kind of bend the blade over just a little bit. Now let's test fit it. Perfect. Hard to beat perfect. The other thing I do to help my spatially challenged brain, so I made my mark here, and just so I remember which angle I cut, I just put a slash. I don't know if you can see it that way. So that way I know I'm not cutting the angle, I'm cutting that angle, because I've made that mistake before. So I can go out here and say, oh yeah, no, that's wrong. I gotta go all the way over to here. It's perfect. So we got this Simple Solutions transition kit here so that it will get some getting mud all over my new floor. Oh well. So I cut this track down, and I have to make sort of an odd angle here. So I've got this track and give myself a 1/2 inch away from the floor. And I gotta screw the track in. So now we take the top piece and this transition piece. I'm going to put that in there, and you have these 2 grooves on the bottom, and those 2 grooves supposedly fit into that track. Alright, now I'm going to cut my other angle. Alright, got my other angle cut. So we're done the floor. Like I said, I did a laminate floor maybe 15 years ago, helping out a friend of mine. But most of the floor I've done has been pretty much straight hardwood. So I haven't done a whole lot of this stuff. But I found that, you know, they can, like I said, you probably, you know, tapping away and a combination of sort of lifting up and snapping in. But I did find it hard if you got one end in and then try to lift that whole thing in and get it in. So kind of a combination of using, you know, the pull stick there and the tapping block, and kind of a combination of all three is one to really sort of get it locked together. And of course, it's tricky when you leave a wall and you're out to some empty space all of a sudden, and then you got those joints, and if things aren't perfectly square, then you got to fuss with them to try to get them all in. So that was kind of some of the secrets. And I had forgotten how hard this stuff is as far as completely trash saw blades. So be prepared if you do use your regular blades, that they're gonna need sharpening afterwards, because they and also try to set it up so that you've either got a couple different blades, or you run all the flooring first and then change blades and do the wood, because I had to change blades afterwards if I was cutting all the molding, just because everything was just so dull. I mean, I can kind of chew through this. Any of the pine stuff, any of the oak was just really hard, just kind of burned it up. So that's it. Like I say, this means we're just about done. I got a couple odds and ends left, and then of course, there's that always. I think Sting said, "There's no project that's ever finished; it's merely abandoned." And so I'll continue to, I'm sure, find I could do that little thing and that little thing, and I may find some things that I weren't perfect enough, and I'll tweak them a little bit later on. But kind of winding down. So. And it's 60 degrees today, so summer's coming. Looking forward to getting back to the river. So thanks for watching. Hit me up with any questions you have in the comments, and I do my best to answer them. It's great having you around. So like, subscribe, thumbs up, all those things, those social media things that you can do. And then I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.